leave offended or leave disrespected. That line isn't rude, it's a safety label. Because disrespect doesn't just happen, it's built one signal at a time. Tonight we're interviewing the emotions that show up before they blow up. So you stop acting shocked when your nervous system finally collects its debt. This isn't about fixing you. And it's definitely not about blaming them. This is translation. Because emotions don't disappear when you ignore them. They escalate. They recruit other emotions. And eventually, they take the mic. So we're starting off with the one that shows up first. Not loud, just tight. Let's welcome anxiety.
Oh, I'm thrilled to be here. Nothing says a good time like an empath pretending they're fine while their nervous system is actually filing a police report.
That's the energy. So let's talk. When an empath feels annoyed, what are they actually feeling? And why do you show up as a warning to anger and not just fear?
Because annoyed is the cute word they use when the truth would scare them. They're not just annoyed. They're afraid they're about to explode. And empaths, they don't want to hurt anybody. And honestly, that's the problem. They've been absorbing anger, suppressing anger, smiling through anger until it hits capacity. And once anger is at capacity, it doesn't come out as a calm boundary. It comes out as an impact. So I show up fast, not because I'm dramatic, but because I'm early. I'm trying to prevent something.
So when annoyance hits, it's not I'm being petty. It's I'm overloaded and I'm scared I'm going to become disrespectful.
Exactly. Annoyed is the polite caption. The real foul name is system overload, explosion imminent.
So you're not warning them that they're in danger. You're warning them that they're becoming the danger.
Yes, thank you. I'm not always saying something bad will happen to them. Sometimes I'm saying if you don't stop right now, you're about to do something you regret later. Empaths are not necessarily scared of anger, but they don't tend to use anger. Empaths avoid anger because they feel anger equals harm. So I show up like, hey, we are one more conversation away from you snapping at that sweet someone. Or maybe not so sweet. Maybe it's a bad gig.
Oh, that's huge. Anxiety isn't weakness here. It's conscious plus capacity.
Yeah, I'm the don't text your ex of emotions. I'm trying to stop you from doing something irreversible.
Okay. Well, here's another question for you, anxiety. Where do you hit the body first? What are your early tells so an empath can translate you before anger takes the wheel?
Chest tight, mind gets shallow, your breath gets shallow, your mind starts wandering, your mind starts sprinting. They can't focus, but they can't stop listening either. And that's the biggest tell. Their empathy turns into irritation. Not because they're evil or whatever, but because the empath is past capacity and still performing availability. It's like, I don't know, it's like an emotional customer service and you're the only one who showed up at the call center taking all the weight of the calls. It's too much pressure. You're not going to get everyone's paycheck by taking everyone's calls. So it seems like everybody else in the call center got the message. Why are you here?
So when your breath changes, your empathy starts feeling like labor. That's you saying, stop absorbing and start boundarying.
Yeah. When your kindness starts feeling like the job you hate, that's me. That's me.
Okay, well, I don't want to step on no one's toes, but some empaths call it being kind, but it's really avoiding being disliked. So tell them the truth. What are you actually doing, anxiety? What are you actually doing when they ignore you and keep saying yes?
They're buying approval on a credit card. They're paying with their nervous system to avoid someone else's disappointment. And they act shocked when the bill comes due. You can't borrow peace from yourself and expect interest-free living.
Oh. So annoyance is the first receipt. And Anger is the collection agency.
Exactly. And anger doesn't accept, but I'm an empath as a payment.
Okay. Here's what anxiety is really saying. Empath, you're not mad because you're mean. You're tense because you're overfilled. You're annoyed because you're past capacity. You're scared because you don't want to explode. Here's the translation. Set the boundary now so you don't become disrespectful later.
Thank you. And I've been saying it with chest tightness, but apparently we need subtitles. This is why it's important to slow down and understand what you're feeling, what I'm saying.
Anxiety, thank you. You're not here to ruin people. You're here to warn them before anger has to enforce. Any last thoughts you want to leave them with?
Yeah. If I show up and you ignore me, don't call anger toxic later. That's your boundary overdue. Listen early or explain your explosion later. That's all I gotta say.
All right. We heard the warning system. Now we're interviewing the one that shows up when the warning gets ignored. The enforcer, the boundary with the voice, the emotion everybody judges, but everybody needs. Welcome, anger.
Yeah, let's not do the soft voice thing, okay? If you called me here, it's because you ignored anxiety like she was spam. Now, you want a conversation. Cute.
And you see, that's why people avoid you.
Good. Avoid me early. That's literally the point.
Oh, okay, well, anger. When an empath is annoyed and anxiety is already tapping alarms, what are you watching happen inside them?
I'm watching them lie. They say, I'm fine. They mean I'm trapped. They say, it's okay. They mean I hate this. They say, no worries. But they're really keeping score. Empaths don't set boundaries. They set appointments with resentment. And then they act surprised when I show up like, oh my God, where did this come from? From you. It came from you.
Okay, so when annoyance starts, it's the early clue. But if it keeps getting ignored, you take over.
I don't take over. I get called in repeatedly for negligence.
But why do you come out so sharp though? Why not calm? Why not gentle?
Because calm got ignored. Gentle got walked over. Polite got used. You think I start at a 10? No, I start at a 2. That's annoyance. But the empath keeps saying yes until it's a 10 situation. Then everybody wants me to be mature when I'm walking into a house fire. Look, I'm not here to be liked. I'm here to stop the bleeding. I'm here to end the situation.
So the sharpness is a sign the boundary is way overdue.
Exactly. I'm not rude. I'm late. Anxiety was early. Annoyance was earlier than that.
Well, anger. We're here to translate emotions, and that means that we got to feel you before we know you. So where do you hit the body first? What are the tells so an empath can catch you before it turns into damage? Because you're already here.
I think everybody knows when I'm here. Pressure in the jaw. Everything gets simple. Everything. No nuance, no sympathy, no patience. Your mouth will begin to load sentences that you can't unsay. And your thoughts? Oh, your thoughts get disrespectful fast. Not because they're evil, you're evil. Who cares about that? But because you're finally honest after weeks of lying. It works both ways. Anger stirs you to tell a version of your truth.
Okay, so when your body heats up and your thoughts turn brutal, that's the moment to pause because you're about to speak from injury, not truth.
Correct. And let's be clear. I will say the thing you didn't mean. Because you did mean it. You just didn't mean to admit it like that.
Well, what do you want to say to empaths that call you toxic when you show up?
What do I say to that? Stop using therapy words to dodge accountability. That's what I say to that. If I show up, it's because you let people climb inside you and decorate. You let disrespect rent space, and then you blame me for the eviction? You want me gone? Great. Say no the first time, not the 50th time.
So anger isn't the villain. Anger is the consequence of self-abandonment.
Finally, someone can do math.
Okay, let me translate that. Here's what anger is really saying. Empath, your boundary is real. Your capacity matters. And you don't have to wait until you're at your limit, spilling over, to say you're full. Annoyance is the first echo. Anxiety is the first alarm. Anger is the enforcement. If you listen early, you won't need to blow up to be heard. Yes.
Because explosions are loud, but they're expensive.
Anger, thank you. You're not here to destroy. You're here to protect what we didn't protect earlier, what we refused to protect politely. Any final thoughts for our guest today?
Yeah. If you keep ignoring the signals I'm sending you, I'm going to show up with this microphone and no filter. And they're going to call it you losing control. No, that's you telling the truth with zero skill. Set the boundary while you still love them. Because if I have to arrive, you might still love them, but it won't sound like it.
I like that. Leave offended or leave disrespected. That's not a threat and that's not an attitude. That's your annoyance talking. Annoyance is the warning that says, say it now or it's coming out ugly later. But here's the part no one says. Those are not your only two options. You don't have to choose between hurting their feelings and blowing up and disrespecting them. There is a third option. Capacity. Your job isn't to manage what they feel. Your job is to be honest about what you can handle. And empaths mess this up all the time because you feel everything. So you think you're responsible for everything, but you're not. You feel too much, so you regulate that. Annoyance is your system saying, I'm full. I'm done absorbing. I need boundaries now. If you ignore it, anxiety tightens the room. And if you ignore that, anger kicks the door down and tells the truth with zero care. Then everyone's shocked. Don't be shocked. Translate the emotion. Read the room. Don't just feel the room. That's emotional intelligence. That's power. No one said that. Subscribe if you're ready to keep learning how to translate emotions instead of drowning in them. You feel me?